Hello, beautiful beings. My name is Natalie. This is Natalie Levin Astrology, and I am very honored and flattered to be a guest speaker for Nadiya Shah's channel for this month's full moon guidance video. And I invite you as you're listening to me to keep in mind that I am seeing the astrology through the veil of my experience in this particular lifetime. So if it doesn't match for you, I invite you to let it go. You get to take what you like and leave the rest about what I say. And this full moon that we are having is on December 15th, 2024 at 4:01 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am making this recording a few weeks in advance of the full moon. And while I'm making the recording, Mercury is retrograde. And when this full moon happens, Mercury will be stationing. So that's interesting. Right now, we're in the full-on Mercury retrograde extravaganza. And I want to let you know, if as you're landing in this full moon in Gemini at 23 degrees of Gemini, I wonder if you have how it's been for you, how this Mercury retrograde has been. For me, it's been it's been extra special and extra bumpy. And as Mercury is stationing on this full moon, that's the first thing that's jumping out for me. I would invite you to stay soft and supple with your expectations and with your plans for how things have to go or should go. I would invite you to release ideas of should and have to and must and need with this full moon in Gemini, because there's a lot of, it's making me laugh already, because it feels like a three-ring circus. And at least in the United States, it's also a time of year when people have extremely busy schedules. They're trying to get ready for the holidays and shopping and scheduling and making plans. And I would simply invite in a softness and a gentleness with yourself and others about people being on time, the trains being on time, traffic going smoothly. Can you allow there to be some gentleness and softness for yourself and others around that? Because we also will be having, around this full moon, we'll be having Mars retrograde, we'll be having Jupiter retrograde, Uranus retrograde, Chiron retrograde, and Mercury stationing. So that's a lot of retrograde energy. Yeah, that's a lot. I'm gonna mute this for one moment. I mean, pause it. And as I'm looking at the chart, some other things that are bubbling up for me are that we'll have Venus at 9 degrees of Aquarius. My glasses on for this. 9 degrees of Aquarius, and she will be opposing. Venus is not retrograde for this full moon. Well, let me go back, because this full moon is in mutable signs. So it's the full moon in Gemini is in air that's mutable. So picture air that goes like this. And then the sun at that time is in mutable fire, which is picture embers on your hand that you blow and they sparkle out into the realms, and you're like, oh, where did those go? And glitter, and picture the energy of starlight. So that's a lot of movement. Also, at the same time, we have Neptune happily hanging out in Pisces, Neptune's favorite sign, which is mutable water. So it's like water that's becoming ether, it's becoming steam, it's becoming air, not air, but like droplets, and they're hard to capture. So that's a lot of mutable energy. And with the full moon, we'll have Jupiter in Gemini as well. So that's extra air moving around, and Mercury will be stationed in Sagittarius, so more mutable fire. So what I'm feeling as I'm even receiving the information about what this full moon might feel like, it feels very like, do you remember when you were watching long, long ago, those of you who watched Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory with the original, with Wild, Gene Wild, something Wild. Gene Wilder is the original Willy Wonka. And at one point, this is what it feels like to me. At one point, Mike TV, he is saying, "Oh, I want to get. I am so what I want is to be on TV." And in order to make that happen, they had this special zapping machine, and it zapped Mike TV, and then he dissolved into millions of particles that those of you who are old enough will remember when you watched TV long ago and there was nothing on the channel. It was called like snow, and it would be like all these particles buzzing around. And in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, they turned him into that white snow up ahead until he was put into the television and made very small. And that's what it feels like. It feels like all of these particles buzzing around. And it's the energy of this full moon is how do I conglomerate that? How do I bring all of those pieces, which are extra heightened because of the energy of Pluto having moved into Aquarius? Because with Pluto in Aquarius, along with this full moon, Aquarian energy is related to technology. Aquarian energy, we're having this emphasis on technology, on the energy of my cerebral abilities, my brain. I'm a disconnect from the body. It can be a lot of, it's very heady. It's like, oh, and when I combine my brain with the technology of like, oh, I do this. I am on my phone a lot for my business, and it can be really challenging. And this full moon feels like that story is up to actually become embodied, to remember to bring myself back into my body. As I'm looking at this full moon, there's really not much earth happening at all. Wow. It's the only major planet in an earth sign is Uranus in Taurus, and Uranus is lightning bolts. Uranus is like, oh, I'm here. Yes, I'm in the steadiest sign and I'm exploding it over and over and over. So something coming up for me is how do I, maybe on this full moon, something that I go do is lie on the floor. Maybe if it's not too cold or I have a really good coat, I go outside and find some grass. It can be even cement if that is okay. If that's what you have available? And I lie down on the ground, like I actually allow myself to feel the earth and to feel my physical body on the earth, to remember that I am actually a spirit in a physical body, and that it is important for me to tend to my physical body, because with the energy of this full moon, it's so much, it feels scattered to me. It feels scattered. It feels like, how do I remember to bring myself back into my body? Because it can be that energetically, I feel like my energy is outside my body on this full moon. And because Gemini is in the mix, the moon is in Gemini and Jupiter is in Gemini. For me, Gemini is 2. So when there's 2 planets in Gemini, that is 4. So I'm having 4 voices talking to me all the time with the moon, the full moon, and Jupiter in Gemini. So I'm having a lot of some people use the words downloads. I'm having a lot of voices talking to me all at once. It can express itself, for those of you for whom the word ADHD makes sense, it can feel like that. I think this full moon, it can feel like my brain is going all over the place. So, and I'm already feeling that right now, and I'm making this like 2 weeks in advance. And some things that can feel helpful and supportive when this full moon energy is happening are, what can I do? Can I go take a walk? Can I even, for me, sometimes laying on the floor with my legs up the wall and my pelvis elevated a bit. So I might put a pillow under my pelvis. I'm lying on the floor and my legs are up the wall so that the blood is invited to move to my brain without having to fight gravity. So my brain can be powerfully infused with freshly oxygenated blood, and I don't have to battle gravity to make that happen. As I'm making this with Mercury retrograde, my words are getting a little tangled, and that makes sense. So it's a great illustration for you. We'll also, with this full moon in Gemini, there will also be a conversation happening. Neptune is forming it's a small enough orb that we can say Neptune is involved in making a T square with this full moon. So it's I am I'm the sun in Sagittarius, and I'm feeling like I want to go out and have ebullient fun and have a blast, and like make plans and be go on journeys both inner and outer. And then the moon is saying, oh, I have so much data to bring in, and I'm translating that. I'm bringing in data from here, from there, from everywhere, and I'm translating it through the channel that is me, that is Natalie, that is, and for you, oh listener, the channel that is you. And then I'm digesting it and delivering it in a new way to those around me. And then Neptune's in there saying, oh, but don't you want to dream and sleep and rest and escape and maybe, get drunk or go into fantasy land? What about that? Don't you want to do that? So these energies are not necessarily understanding each other, and that is part of what it's like to be human. Do I contain multitudes? Why, yes, I do. Oh, no, wait. Do I contradict myself? Yes, I do. I contain multitudes. I can't remember who said that. I think it's Walt Whitman, but it might be Emily Dickinson. I'm not sure. Oh no, I think it's Walt Whitman. You guys can tell me. The moon, Mars retrograde in Leo is, I think it's an invitation it is an ongoing invitation leading up to the full moon to review. Maybe there's, okay, what feels like fun to me these days? Does anything feel fun? Can I identify it? Can I lean into my I want, I need, and my the part of me that is ruled by the sun? Leo energy is ruled by the sun. The sun contains 1.3 million planet Earth's worth of size. But the planet of activation, Mars, get up and go, Mars in Leo, he likes being in Leo, retrograde, he's asking me to say, what do I actually enjoy doing? What feels like fun to me? Let's revisit. And like some things that are coming up for me are, I love to square dance, and I haven't square danced in so long. And maybe there's a square dance that I can go to. This is actually true. I really do. I really do love square dance. Have you ever square danced? It is so much fun. So I think I might investigate that during this build up to the full moon. It will be a time when I feel like conversation can come rather easily. Like you can, there will be so much data and information around that if you're in a place where you feel like it would be helpful for you to make small talk, you will be supported in that way. And holiday parties can be places where that happens, and you also might feel really like overwhelmed. Even when I said that, it made me yawn to think of going to a holiday party and making small talk. So maybe you stay home, you say, oh, I'm not feeling great, I'm going to stay home. Like you can do that with this astrology that is getting it feels like it's getting faster and faster moving. I invite you to take more and more time for yourself to refuel, recharge. Like for example, today I am very, very blessed that I had the day to myself, and I went to a yoga class, and then I took a 3-hour nap. Like, if I haven't done that in a very long time, it was delightful. With Neptune in Pisces, napping can be really supportive. And also Saturn in Pisces can be here's a structure in the sign Pisces, structure is Saturn, the sign of Pisces, sleep, that might feel helpful. The structure of let's take a nap. Let's even set the alarm for like 30 minutes and take a nap and see what happens afterwards, how you feel. Oh my God, you guys, as I'm talking about it, makes me yawn. Oh my gosh. So, yeah, I invite you to keep in mind always through this full moon time that we are also dancing, all of us, very loudly into a new realm that none of us has been in before in this lifetime. Unless you are someone who is 250 years old, which, anything could happen. I don't doubt. But for most of us, we have not experienced this energy steady, like progressing. He had some dips before since March, and now it's like I'm really here for the next 20 years. And if you think back to what was going on for you about 2008, 2009, a lot of people had really big life changes and shifts. And for me, what it looked like, that was when Pluto entered Capricorn. So that was when he changed signs last. And for me, it looked like declaring bankruptcy, getting divorced, quitting opera singing, leaving New York City, moving back to Philadelphia, doing really intense therapy, and also getting a job in an office. So, and Capricorn is tradition. Capricorn is tradition. So now, as Pluto had been preparing to leave Capricorn, I no longer work in an office. And Pluto's in Aquarius. Aquarius, the modern ruler of Aquarius is Uranus. Uranus, there's no box for Uranus. So we are all being invited to embrace the non-conformity of each of our individual expressions. We each are so unique and special. Each of our charts is different. Even if when twins are born, there's still some minutes and seconds between their births, and that can change the way their charts express themselves. So I would invite you to know that right now, and especially on this full moon, Venus will also be in Aquarius, which is where my Venus is. And it's really an invitation to make, it can be personal appearance choices that don't fit into a box. It can be, I am drawn to things that, like, you can allow yourself to be drawn to things and know that you're not alone, that other people, you're like, oh, no one, I can't tell anyone that I like that. But actually, you're going to start being able more and more to feel like you can tell people that you like. I'm thinking of something outrageous, like raisins on a pickle slathered with peanut butter. I probably someone has eaten that. Um, yeah, I wonder how this is landing for you. If I think of anything else about how this full moon is dancing around, I'm gonna say it. However, what I want to do now is I want to dance into how this full moon is going to land for each astrology sign for rising and sun sign. I do also want to say with this full moon that the sun and Chiron are making a trine to each other. So there could be, it can be you could productively work with old or young wounding that is up again. Like maybe an example is, I'm at work and someone that I'm encountering makes me get very activated. Like I feel my body tense, I start sweating in my armpits, I get panicked, and then I'm able to have the like the inner journey, Sagittarius, Sun and Sagittarius, the inner journey to awaken to the fact, understand, have consciousness around the fact that that person is actually an echo of my abusive uncle. And it's not my big emotion is not matching the situation here. I'm having a young experience, and this full moon can be an invitation for me to, okay, I'm bringing in that information. Maybe I'm going to write about it. Maybe I'm going to speak about it. Maybe there's a support group that I can go to and I can share about it. And with Neptune in Pisces, maybe I'm going to sit and meditate quietly and allow myself to simply sit and be still with myself as all of this new subject matter is bubbling up, and this wisdom, the inner journey, and perhaps the younger wounding doesn't have to have such a hold on me as it did before. That could also happen with this full moon. Okay, I'm going to pause this. I'm going to move on to the signs, and I'll try to put a timestamp underneath after I make the video. Aries and Aries rising. I am so happy to be with you. Welcome. Oh my gosh, I'm trying to make my microphone. Okay, there we go. We've got to do the I am, I need, I want with Aries. That's what we're talking about. Okay, there we go. This full moon for you, Aries rising, is landing in your third house, your Gemini house. What I would like to say about that, the sun is going to be in the ninth, the moon will be in the third, and so there could be themes up for you, Aries rising, of okay, I'm ready to speak. I want to say what I want to, if I have been thinking of, it could be a really great opportunity if you have been wondering about what would it be like if I were to go and make a video or a reel. I see all these other people making videos and reels, and I wonder about my doing that, and would anyone even care what I have to say? Yes, it starts really small. So Aries energy is the energy of catalyst. It begins things. You're really supported with this full moon. You're getting so much information in your from all of the mutable energy, and the Sagittarius full moon, the Sagittarius sun is trining your sign. So that's lovely, depending on what placements you have in Aries and what degrees your placements are. You could be even having a grand trine with the sun or a grand trine with Mars in Leo in your fun house. So for me, this full moon feels like an opportunity for you, Aries, to express, to have some fun, to maybe if there's something like a new hobby of any sort that is bubbling up for you, it could be a time that you are like, I actually want to try this out. That would be really fun. If you want to simply sit down and write for yourself, or even write something that even if one person is touched by what you put out there, if it's a video, if it's writing, if it's communication, if it's you making a little recording for someone, that matters, because it's really important, I feel, especially with the energy of not just Pluto in Aquarius, but also the age of Aquarius that we're entering, to remember that we are all interconnected. That's Aquarian energy. There's power in that, Pluto. And when I remember that even my thoughts have an impact on the people around me, who knows what you, Aries, taking this moment to jump in and communicate, to share your thoughts, to it might even be that I'm going to go on a journey, an inner journey. Maybe you go on a guided meditation with this energy in your house of the journeys, your house of learning, your house of expanding. That's where the sun is right now. It feels playful and fun for me, this full moon for you, Aries. And again, if you feel like you're getting scattered or outside yourself, I invite you to do something that is grounding and earthing for you. How do you get back into your body? What would that look like? I feel like that would be very helpful and supportive. This is for Aries and Aries rising. Thank you so much. Taurus and Taurus rising. This full moon for you is landing in your second house. That's right, your second house. So themes for you, Taurus rising, of finances can be up around this full moon. It can be my actual physical home, where I'm living. Is there something that is there some information that I am awaiting or want to come to me about where I'm living? What does that feel like? Is there something I want to communicate, or if it almost feels like put in writing about my house? I wonder if something about contractual, like taxes, or because there's an opposition to the sun in your eighth house with this full moon, Taurus and Taurus risings, there could be some, I'm going to say this, let's invite this spell in. Maybe you get some a judgment, or some sort of a, this is just and right and correct, that you get some, it can be other people's money, it can be taxes, it can be inheritance, that maybe you get some information about that with this full moon on December 15th. It's also, remember that Mercury will be stationing, so allow for the fact that it can be, I invite you to just stay soft and supple, which as a Taurus and Taurus rising, maybe that's not the easiest, because that is the most fixed energy of the zodiac. So can you be gentle with yourself about the fact that, I also want to say for you, Taurus rising, that this might be it might not be the most comfortable full moon because there's so much mutable energy happening, and you're the most fixed and most steady of the zodiac. So with all this mutable energy, you're like, whoa, this is a lot. Like, I actually was not feeling, I would like to have more steadiness and more predictability and more like containment of the energy as a Taurus rising, rather than feeling all of this scatteredness. So energetically, you might experience that Taurus rising with this full moon. I invite you to remember that you do have Uranus in your first house. So with this full moon, so that is just a general going along of everything is a little surprising over and over and over, or a lot, and shocking. And you're like, okay, I'm ready for a pause and a break with this. And it's, you still have Uranus in your first house, in your sign. So I invite you to easy does it. And when you are like, wow, I can't believe I got through that, maybe you can give yourself a trophy and a medal. Like, I give myself a trophy and a medal for sitting in all of this swirl of a lot of energy, and I am really honoring myself as a Taurus rising. And again, remember that you have a lot of energy with this full moon around your financial realm, around your physical body, like your physical home. So can you be extra tender and loving and attentive to it during this full moon? That's bubbling up for me. How does that land for you? I'd love to hear. Gemini and Gemini rising. I'm just going to hold this like this. This makes sense for Gemini rising, especially with the moon completely and utterly in your first house. That's exciting. That's exciting. This full moon in your first house of I am, I want, I need. Gemini rising. This is a great opportunity for you to say, what do I want? What do I need? Who am I? I know that my clients who have a lot of Gemini in their charts sometimes are like, oh my God, I have so many different voices all going at the same time. And I feel like there's so much happening in my mind. And what do I do with that? So this can be an opportunity, Gemini and Gemini risings, to really, maybe part of it is I am a Gemini rising, and part of my I amness is that I receive so much information all the time from the divine. Your ruling planet, Gemini rising, is Mercury. Mercury is the messenger of the gods. So that's pretty powerful. Like, if I'm a Gemini rising, I am constantly receiving information from beyond the veil, whether you want to or not. So it can also be an opportunity to perhaps say, okay, I'd like to receive all this information. This is interesting. Yes, this is wonderful. And again, with Neptune involved, Neptune and Pisces involved, loudly up in your 10th house, it can be, I'm Gemini rising, and I'd like to, yes, there's this connection with spirit that is being invited in, and I'd like to use Saturn in Pisces, that's happening right now, Saturn, to say, hey, I want to set a boundary around this. Like, okay, yes, my mind is getting a lot of information. I know that's part of my I amness, and I invite, I am Gemini rising, and I am inviting the image of a container around myself and all of that mutable energy that's coming in. The container is Saturn, those are the lines. So maybe you start to allow in this, I can create some boundaries for how much information is coming in all the time. And with the full moon in your first house, you're also having your area of your chart that's around long-term and contractual relationships highlighted. The sun is in your seventh house. So there's an invitation for you to perhaps check in. Is the way you are in long-term relationships, it can be marriage, it can be work, it can be, I also use soul contracts. Like, I'm in this soul contract with someone. Is this feeling good to me still? Does something want to be shifted? Can I also stay alert for the fact that perhaps I or the people around me might be speaking rather bluntly with this full moon, with the Sagittarius sun? And can I remember that when people say, and I say, you are this, you are that, they're projecting onto me, as opposed to saying, I notice that I notice that, I hear you saying, like, maybe this would be something that you do, Gemini, with this full moon. I hear you saying that you are feeling very upset. I'm wondering, would you be open to sharing more about what it's like to be in your skin, so that you as Gemini rising, allow in the relationship area of your chart this element of curiosity, so that the people with whom you're in relationship have a chance to communicate with you, because you have such a talent for communication. Can you allow that same opening for the people in your life? I wonder how this lands with you. I'd love to hear if you would like to share it in the comments. Cancer and Cancer rising. This full moon for you is landing in your 12th house. Here's some opportunity, Cancer rising, to allow yourself to connect and communicate, Gemini, communication, 12th house, with the all that is. So I know that for Cancer rising, I'm speaking as a Cancer rising and a Cancer moon. It's not necessarily the first thing I think of when I'm like, oh, time to pray. However, at this point in my life, I'm 53. It's taken a while. I now really, for lack of a better word, I do pray every day. Now, that might not speak to you. However, for me, astrology is one of the ways to allow in the fact that the three-dimensional is not all there is. And Cancer rising, even though you might have a tendency to focus on, okay, this is the home, what are we doing? Like, let's do the practical next steps that we do to create our home, our actual cozy home. There also is an invitation for you, always, with your Cancer energy usually is related to the fourth house, and therefore the Pisces house, which is the 12th house, which is where this full moon is for you, is always trining your whatever your sun. The Pisces energy is always trining your sun, Cancer rising. So if you're not already doing it, can you begin to allow in this energy of, I give thanks to all of my angels and guides, that my life is unfurling exactly as it is meant to, for my highest, purest, the highest, purest iteration of my most abundant, most divine, and most benevolent timelines. Can it be something that specific? With this full moon in Gemini in your 12th house, you're very supported in allowing Mercury to support you, allowing the messenger of the gods to support you. And also, there is a focus with the sun in your 6th house at this time. There's an invitation for you to, what is my daily routine? Do I want to allow some pizzazz into my daily routine? Do I want to invite in, like, maybe every day, I actually do love glitter. So maybe every day I decide to wear a little glitter on my eyes or somewhere. I allow in some pizzazz. I allow in some sparkle. If I'm a Cancer rising, which I am. So can I let in some the energy of starlight? Can I allow in the energy of glitter? Can I bring in some sparkle, as opposed to, if I feel as a Cancer rising that I'm getting overwhelmed, the tendency can be I pull into my shell and into myself, and I don't actually interact with anyone. And maybe for around this full moon, I can say, you know what? I know that I have the shell here. I could go into it if I need to, and I'm going to invite myself to go out into the world and actually know that I'm supported and protected by my spirit guides and my spirit team. And with that, I will be able to move forward and do my daily life in a little bit of a sparklier way and see what that feels like, even if it's just for the day of the full moon. How does this land for you? I'd love to hear. You can let me know in the comments. Leo and Leo rising. This full moon for you is, where is it landing? In your 11th house. That's right. So you are having an invitation for there to be a focus on your friends, your communities, your groups. Could be large groups of children. It can be, if I am a Leo and a Leo rising, it's, do I want to go and hang out and communicate more with friends and communities that maybe I've left in the dust a little bit? Am I ready to revive and revitalize that realm of my life? I'm having a lot of, if I'm a Leo rising, I'm having a lot of focus on my fun house as well, with Sagittarian energy there. That's really nice. And it's my fun house and my creative projects area of my chart. So, and also children. There's a lot of children energy with this full moon for you, Leo rising, which won't be too foreign to you, for the energy of Leo rules children. However, it's groups of children. So I don't know if it calls you to go and actually be with a bunch of children. I am a parent. I have a 9-year-old, and I know that it is a very specific energy to go and be with children. So sometimes, like right now, I'm having a break because I co-parent with another person. So I'm having alone time, and that also can be really nice. Leo rising, this does feel like a more social moon for you. And if you feel so moved to also, I would say to remember that you also are having Mars retrograde in your sign. It can be a time for you to become clearer or allow in some clarity about what feels fun for me. What do I like to do for fun? Am I even in touch with that? Is there anything, sometimes there's periods of our lives that it's hard to identify what feels fun. And Mars, with you having you've been having Uranus squaring your sign for a hearty 6 or 7 years. Well, he went in there around 2018. So yeah, 6 years. So it can be like, oh, I'm having fun, and then something shocking happens. So I invite you to know that if you are able to stay soft and supple, and you're a fixed sign, so sometimes that can be hard, can you, maybe the fun can still come and you can go with the flow a little bit with all this mutable energy. And as a fixed sign, I want to honor that the Gemini full moon with the sun in Sagittarius and Neptune in Pisces can be a lot of mutable energy for you. And you're like, okay, I'm over the mutable energy. I'd like to get back into the fixed energy. So know that you're not alone. If that is something you're feeling, it's feeling like a lot of scatteredness to you. Can you allow yourself to maybe dance a bit with the mutable energy so that you can allow playfulness in during this full moon? How does that feel to you? I wonder. I'd love to hear in the comments. Virgo and Virgo rising. This full moon for you is landing in your 10th house, which is your house of career, you in the public eye, you achieving. Uh, that feels really supportive because your ruling planet, your Virgo's ruling planet is Mercury, and so is Gemini's ruling planet. So that feels like a really beautiful resonance in terms of this full moon. I feel like you have a lot of support to mm, hmm. You're already, as a Virgo rising, I make up that you're already really skillful, or you speak the language of I'm bringing in information, digesting it and moving it through me, and then bringing out into practical, I'm applying it practically in my life. You're an earth sign and it's mutable earth. So it's sand moving through your fingers. It's tectonic plates shifting. It's seismic shifts. So as a Virgo rising, I'm comfortable with all the mutable energy. This is okay for me. And what do I want to do with it? Do I want to, maybe I have some ideas and I want to put them into actual practical action. I know a lot of people with Virgo and Gemini energy, which this full moon has, are really skillful at spreadsheets and like doing practical, like, okay, this is what I'm going to do first and then second and then third. And you have it all like organized on a spreadsheet. So if that is something that, like, is there something you have to make, you're not have to, you would like to make a spreadsheet about, like, what is my budget this month? What is, what do I want to do? Where do I want to see, like, where I'm bringing in money and where it's going out, that kind of thing. And the reason I'm saying money is because that's, well, it's interesting. During this full moon, your third house, which is like your also how you communicate and how your mind works, is in the sign of Scorpio. So it can be other people's money, taxes. I mean, it is nearing the end of the year also. Is there some sort of a tax situation you want to look at? You are having your home, your what feels like home to you. Your fourth house is also activated by this full moon. So it's okay, this is what feels, my home feels like I want to add, it could be that you want to add in some spice, some pizzazz, some sparkle, some um cozy light, like, even, you know what, the energy of of holiday lights in your house could also feel supportive with this full moon energy, because the Sagittarius sun is landing in your fourth house here. So it's Sagittarius is the energy of starlight. So maybe I'm going to bring some Christmas lights or holiday lights into my house and light them and see how that feels. I feel like that could feel very supportive as a practical, like, earthy way to work with this astrology. Yeah. How does that land? I'm so curious. Let me know. Hello, Libra and Libra rising. This full moon for you in Gemini is happening in your ninth house. So this could be a lovely opportunity for you to think about, is there something new that you've been interested in learning or studying? Is there a class that is calling you? Are you thinking, oh my goodness, this could be very interesting for me to study, blah, blah, blah? You're very supported with this full moon to pursue that, if that is calling you. You're also being invited to dance in the realms of how your mind works and how you communicate. So here I am as a Libra rising, and maybe there's some sort of Libras are artistic often, can be artistic, Libra rising. So is there something artistic you want to express? And do you want to make a video of it? Do you want to make a recording of it? Do you want to write about it? You're very supported in doing so now, and you can put it out, you can publish it. It can be, for me, it started with just one video on YouTube, and I didn't think anyone would ever watch it. And now I have 1,300, almost 1,300 people who are subscribed to my channel. And you never know whose life you might touch, Rising. And since you are, your sign is about being in relationship and in relationship with yourself, with others, this is an opportunity for you with the Gemini full moon in your house of I'm the teacher, actually, to be out there publicly. Like, I'm here to teach you all. I am ready to share what it's like to be in my skin, and no one else on this planet knows what it's like to be in my skin. So I'm going to share a little bit about what it is like to be me. And you never know, Libra rising, who might feel less alone by hearing what it's like to be you, by hearing what you enjoyed about a certain movie, by hearing you sing a song. You never know how you might touch another person's heart by taking that first step to be more out there on the internet, with Pluto moving into the sign of the internet and technology, Pluto moving into Aquarius. So, and you as an air sign, you're getting a really lovely trine from Pluto for the next 20 years to your sign. So that can be really creative and alchemical and allow your creative libido to bubble up and burst out. And this energy of the Gemini full moon is maybe simply allowing some new data, new information from the stars. It's in the ninth house, it's from the stars, from other galaxies to come in, and maybe there will be this gestation of new psychic life bubbling around inside you, Libra rising. And I am so curious to see what psychic baby actually is birthed through this gestation process. How does that land with you? I'd love to hear. Scorpio and Scorpio rising. This Gemini full moon is in your eighth house. Oh, that's nice. Your eighth house, which you're already familiar with because Scorpio rules the eighth house. So this is not like an unfamiliar placing for your Scorpio for the full moon. I feel like this is like, okay, I know this territory, and I'm being invited as a Scorpio rising to maybe, even though perhaps the way I feel is often not something that I have words to articulate. I am being supported right now if I want to communicate about what it's like to be in my skin. I actually have support with this Gemini full moon because Gemini rules communication. It's in my eighth house. It's so if there's ever a time when I, as a Scorpio rising, am feeling like I want to share with others what it's like to be me, it might be now. It could be now. And it's also an invitation to know that Gemini rising, you're having the Pluto is just entering the area of your chart that is around what feels like home, what feels like mother to you, where you feel like what has perhaps not felt nurturing, and you're getting an invitation right now to do really powerful transformative work. One could even say for the next 20 years around, it could be, we could say the mother wound. We could say the places where that little baby you did not receive the kind of, I am the mother, I am the mother of a Scorpio child, and the amount of connection, safe connection with trusted people, i.e. me, that he needs is so powerful. Like he really needs to, wants to feel me close to him, wants to literally feel me, like be touching me. So for you, Scorpio rising, where you did not receive that might be up for you, and it might be bubbling up even right now as the full moon is happening. And it's possible that you will feel those places in yourself, those pockets of fear of abandonment up. And if that's happening for you, maybe you can even place your own hand on your own heart, and can you be your own, this is coming up for me, like your own energetic nurturing being. Like I'm here, I'm with you. I, Natalie, am with little girl Natalie, and I am caring for you, and you're safe. I am going to make sure no one hurts you. Like that can be that kind of language, that kind of communication with this full moon in Gemini, communication in your eighth house, which is really deep feeling. And if there has been something that happened for you, Scorpio rising, that is around feeling safe in your body, that also could be highlighted right now with the sun being in your second house. I don't know what that sound was. The sun in your second house, which is your physical body. So there's an invitation also, okay, I'm going to make sure that I really, really communicate to myself, from me to me. You're safe. I've got you. I'm going to care for your body. I'm going to make sure you're cared for. How does this feel? How does this land, Scorpio rising? I'd love to know in the comments. Sagittarius and Sagittarius rising. This full moon for you is in your seventh house, the house of long-term relationships, the house of contractual relationships. It can be you working one-on-one with a client. It can be you signing a contract, perhaps for, oh, this person wants to hire me, I'm signing a contract. It can be marriage. It can be something about marriage that's up. You maybe getting some more information, some sort of a reveal about, oh, this is what my long-term partner likes. I'm going to, maybe you feel called to write a poem or speak a poem or communicate in a new way that's refreshing, optimistic, enlightening with your partner that you haven't tried before. With the sun in Sagittarius, this feels and that sun is in your first house with this full moon. So there it feels optimistic, it feels ebullient. There can be for you Sagittarius and Sagittarius rising, you tend to already be a more optimistic and more ebullient energy. That's part of Sagittarian energy. And maybe that with this full moon maybe you can allow others to receive that through your communication. Maybe it's even you're walking down the street and you see someone. Yes, sometimes you can speak a little bluntly and that can land hurtfully for others, and they're like, oh, that hurt my feelings, and you don't mean it. I know that you don't mean it. So if I'm a Sagittarius rising, maybe I think for a moment before I speak, and maybe I also ask myself, I practice the acronym WAIT. Why am I talking? And if I'm not going to serve a purpose by what I'm saying, maybe I'm going to let that be. Otherwise, maybe I will actually share what's going on inside of me, use my words, Gemini, full moon in Gemini, to let others know what it's like to be in my skin, to lift others up, perhaps to have a teacher energy, to be an example of someone who is an authority in a kind way. Inviting yourself to use your power. Pluto is in your third house right now of communication, inviting yourself to use your power for good, for like the highest octave of that. So I wonder how this lands for you, Sagittarius rising. Thank you so much. I'd love to hear in the comments. Capricorn and Capricorn rising. So happy to be with you all. And this full moon is landing in your sixth house, which is your house of your daily routine and your craft. So it can be something like, oh, I'm Capricorn and I've really been working I've been my whole life really interested in becoming more skillful at knowing what tools to use to build, like to fix my own drywall in the house. I'm using that as an example of something that my Capricorn best friend would do. My craft is knowing that I don't have to hire a handy person. I can do it myself, and my craft is getting extra emphasis with this full moon. It might be that others reach out to me to know my opinion. Oh, what would you like? You want me to tell you how to fix the drywall in your house? I can do that for you. This is what you do, and here are the steps. That's me with as a Capricorn rising with this full moon. It can also be I'm using the Gemini full moon to, if it is helpful for me, I'm going to make some spreadsheets, Gemini, that will feel supportive in my doing the next right thing as a Capricorn rising. I'm also having so Capricorn rising, you're getting an inspiration, a support in connecting in with the spirit realm. And remember, Capricorn rising, that your glyph, the image for your sign, is that you're half earth and half water beast. You're half like centauri goat and half mer beast. So can you allow some of your being to land in the mysterious realms of water and perhaps connect in with spirit through that imagery? Like, okay, I know that the sun is in my 12th house right now as a Capricorn rising, and I'm going to even simply act as if I really believe this. So I might say, I give thanks to all of my guides and angels that I am divinely led and divinely protected, and see what happens. What would that be like to act as if? It might be pretend for you, and it's an interesting practice. It could be an interesting practice. I'd love to hear what comes up for you, Capricorn rising. Hello, beautiful beings of Aquarian and Aquarian risings, Aquarius and Aquarius risings. I love Aquarians. I always say that. My Venus is in Aquarius and my North Node. I will confess to you that it's 1:30 a.m. and I am making this video at 1:30 a.m. and I just don't know why I'm staying up so late to make it. Aquarius and Aquarius rising. This full moon in Gemini is in your fun house. It's in your fifth house. It's in your house of creative projects, of children, of hobbies, of love affairs. It's possible that you will meet someone that's like, oh, this person's exciting. It's possible that it could be, oh, I'm interested in this amazing, beautiful being who is showing up, and this person is able to communicate really well. I like that as an Aquarian. If I'm Aquarius rising, I do like to be with someone who's very smart because I'm probably very smart. Aquarius is known as the genius of the zodiac. So Aquarius rising, if you are inviting in a relationship, I would invite you to keep in mind that your relationship area of your chart at this point with this full moon is in the sign of Leo. So it's, can I remember that to drop down into my heart also? As an Aquarius, that tends to be the most cerebral energy of the zodiac. So can I go shoom into my heart as well and allow the 1.3 million planet Earth's worth of golden light to radiate out from me through my words, Gemini, full moon in Gemini, and allow also I might, as an Aquarius rising, I might also feel called to be social and hang out with people and around communities, groups, and friends with this full moon. That could bubble up for me as well. It feels very creative for you, Aquarius rising. So what are you looking forward to creating? What kind of art are you interested in making, and can you perhaps step more into your modern ruling planet, which is Uranus, with this full moon in Gemini, as opposed to having Saturn perhaps holding you back or restricting you? Can you allow there to be mutable energy? Uranus feels like it's able to go with changes because it is the planet of change. And with all of this mutable energy, and you are a fixed sign, it could feel supportive for you to be like, to picture, okay, I'm gonna go with the flow here instead of being air stuck in a balloon. I'm gonna allow in this energy as an Aquarian, which might not feel so comfortable. And you can do it. I'm cheering you on. I wonder how this feels for you. I'd love to hear in the comments. Take good care. Pisces and Pisces rising, this full moon in Gemini is landing in your fourth house. I am a Pisces. So what comes up for me is what feels like home for you? What kind of and what kind of new information and data might be coming in that will make you think or allow your brain, invite your brain to consider differently, that might be, oh, this is how, like, I actually just moved into a new apartment. Oh gosh. Pisces rules sleep. That's what the sign we're in. So I'm like looking around, taking in the data of the apartment, Gemini data. What do I want to add to this apartment to make it feel more like home? What feels like it would be cozy for me? That could be something and I could even ask, oh, Mercury, messenger of the gods, as a Pisces rising, I give thanks to you that you are able to bring from the divine to me the information, Gemini, that will help me to step into this feeling space, moon in Gemini, that makes my home feel even more cozy and more wonderful. That's something. There's also a focus with this full moon, Pisces rising, on your career area of your chart. The sun is there in this full moon. So you can I invite you to stay alert and awake to the idea that some new sort of opportunity career-wise might bubble up for you at this time. You do have Saturn in your sign, and you also have Neptune in your sign. So you've been working with taking more responsibility, perhaps, and also sometimes getting lost in the dream. So the two of those, Neptune and Saturn, are like, whoa, we are like not understanding each other. And for me, at least, it's been an opportunity to really step into adulthood. I'm 53, so it's taken a while. But I wonder if that's coming up for you too, Pisces and Pisces rising. Like I'm inviting myself to take responsibility for myself in ways that I haven't before. So I wonder how this lands for you, Pisces rising. So happy to have you with me. Thank you, thank you. Thank you all so much for being here with me for this full moon in Gemini. I, again, want to invite you to keep in mind that you are supported by the messenger of the gods. I feel like the ability to communicate with what is beyond the veil is really, really strong for anyone at this time. It's not just me. It's not just the person that you know who can speak with angels and guides. It's you too. It's available for you. With this full moon in Gemini, there's really an invitation for you to communicate, say, I give thanks to, it can simply be thank you. It could look like that. Thank you. I give thanks. Thank you. I'm grateful. I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I can say I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I can speak. It could really be keep it simple. The invitation is keep it simple. I also will leave you with this acronym, which is PAUSE. PAUSE. Postpone action until serenity emerges. Pause. Postpone action until serenity emerges. That has been really helpful for me with the astrology right now, and perhaps it will be helpful for you as a tool. I'm so happy to be with you all. You may find me at natalielevinastrology.com. I do work with clients one-on-one. I'm also on Instagram at Natalie Levin Astrology. Facebook is Natalie Levin, and my YouTube channel is Natalie Levin Astrology. Thank you all so much. I'm so honored to be with you all, and I will be doing the full moon video for January as well. So I look forward to seeing you all then. Okay, I hope you take amazing care. Bye-bye.